Hey guys, so many of you have asked me to comment on this potentially crazy nurse in the Korean military who administered a vaccine to BTS's Jin that may not have even been necessary, and she certainly wasn't assigned to be the nurse to administer said vaccine. So what is going on here? Are they suppressing all this information? Do we have a nurse ratchet running around, or many of them, in, no offense to nurses, but how can this person, if this is true, and if she's not being misaligned, because I'm also wondering about, like, who ratted her out? Like, was somebody jealous or what? But it looks like this was not a safe situation at all that deserves a lot more attention, because yes, this is getting attention because it is Jin. We care about BTS's Jin, but this kind of loosey-goosey attitude with the young men of Korea serving their military duty is not something that even parents of so-called normal people should be comfortable with. I think perhaps we should take this as an opportunity to really then have regular parents question, hey, if this is happening to a celebrity, what's going to happen to my kid? Now, of course, they might say like, oh, my kid's not a celebrity, so they're not going to, yeah. The fact that he was a celebrity is why this information came out. Your kid that's not a celebrity, that's why the information will never come out. So, pick your berries. And so I think this is a very odd case, because let's talk about the vaccine first of all. This vaccine that this nurse supposedly administered was a vaccine against viral hemorrhagic fever. Basically, like, you're just gonna get a fever and practically die, like a severe fever. The famous ones, there's so many in different categories. The famous ones are yellow fever and Ebola. Now, of course, it wasn't for Ebola. And these vaccines, there's only 2 vaccines apparently that have been developed against viral hemorrhagic fever, and it only works against yellow fever and Argentine hemorrhagic fever. And these are very geographically and location specific. Yellow fever vaccine, who really gets that if you only go to countries where they have yellow fever present, and mainly that's in the African continent. There's no real reason for you to have this vaccine in Korea, unless you're gonna be like on some diplomatic mission, or you're just gonna travel to some of these countries. You may have to take the yellow fever vaccine. The Argentine vaccine, the fever seems to be even more rare, because it basically, that virus grows in a particular rat or mouse that lives in Argentina. So unless, we got those rats running around the military complex or wherever Jin is, there is no reason for a viral hemorrhagic fever vaccine to be administered to Jin. And then another, cross-reference would be, well, did all the other dudes in the military unit also get this vaccine? Or was this a vaccine that was maybe going bad, and this nurse over in a different division 30 minutes away had and was like, maybe we can make something up where I have to give this vaccine over to my favorite BTS member Jin, and maybe I will leave. So she's being accused of not informing her superior. She's like in her late 20s or something, and she drove 30 minutes to the military station where Jin is. So she's not even in the same area. But it's being alleged that she knows or has close relations with somebody who works in Jin's medical office. And so she was able to go over there. And then also this informant, I think, has been keeping an eye on this girl for a while, because they also report that, yeah, she goes over there all the time and she sneaks over extra Tylenol. Thank God it's only Tylenol, but maybe there's more. But at least in the reports, it was sneaking over Tylenol. Now, they were saying that, one media report that got, repeated often said that, that she was in cahoots with the guy that was running the medical center where Jin is, but then apparently that he kind of either is not true, that he coordinated this vaccine situation so she could get close to Jin, or he just kind of slipped out somehow. Now, she is being accused of going over there without any authorization, and that is essentially in the legal way where they can start to try to impose some sort of penalties on her. There probably isn't something on the books of administering an unnecessary yellow fever vaccine to a global K-pop superstar. And the other thing that sounds suspicious, but it was through the eyes of the informant. The informant said that after she came back and administered the vaccine, that she was going around saying, oh, Jin was in pain, like intimating that she was bragging about it, making an excuse. Now, the informant, we can't verify like who it is and whether they're exaggerating or embellishing, or if they got an axe to grind. Maybe they're also jealous, they wanted to see Jin, or maybe this informant really is a true whistleblower that finally found another good moment, like, maybe nobody cared about the Tylenol, maybe this nurse is all up to other business and he or she said like, oh, she throws over Tylenol, and they're probably like, oh, big deal, Tylenol, they need Tylenol over there, we got some Tylenol, send over the Tylenol. And then now the informant definitely has something to say about this vaccine. And it seems as if, like, yes, it would be an inside close informant to know that there's something wrong, something strange, to drive and spend 2 hours at a different military post and administer a vaccine that doesn't seem to be necessary. And actually, it's not even that good for you. From Stanford Medicine's website, they said that you shouldn't really take yellow fever vaccination unless you really need it, because there are serious adverse events that can occur. So people should only be vaccinated if they're at risk for exposure to yellow fever virus, or if they need to prove that they have the vaccination from a country that has yellow fever and they want people to be vaccinated when they come in. And so there can be, some really bad side effects, which apparently she was just like, oh, he was in so much pain. That's a little odd. Again, though, that was from the eyes of the informant, which I don't, I'm a little skeptical. I don't know if I could trust the informant yet, because we don't really have much information on that person. And also, the Argentine fever, like I said, it's only found in a mouse in Argentina, or it was developed apparently by the US and the Soviet Union as a biological weapon, but supposedly they suspended that kind of research. So since he's in a military institution and they're playing around with this, this mouse fever virus from Argentina, then really there is no reason for him to have had that vaccine. I don't think they're really going to be sending him over on some secret mission over to Africa while he's doing his military duty. He's kind of stuck there just like as a assistant instructor. And so he's in the 5th Division. This Nurse Ratchet, accused Nurse Ratchet, is from the 28th Division. And so, she drove 30 minutes. She spent 2 hours between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. on that day. She administered this vaccination against hemorrhagic fever to Jin, and it was a secondary vaccination. So maybe they all do get it, and then they have to do another one. But if basically they didn't need this vaccine, and this was the second time that it was administered, then it seems a little bit sus. And so then she went back to her own unit. Now, what have we found now? We've had a response supposedly from Hybe. Now, I didn't see any Hybe on their Twitter respond to this, but this outlet called TV Report, yes, good old TV Report. I've had some experience with good old TV Report, but I will say that they're kind of like a TMZ. They are related under the same holding company to Dispatch. So TV Report really does get scoops on things. They get a little bit more of the insider information. They really do get sourcing when it comes to entertainment news. So I would lean towards trusting it, because the Hybe statement really only came through a so-called conversation between a Hybe official who is unnamed and TV Report. And so and that's a Korean outlet, so TV Report. And so they said, a TV Report said the Hybe official said that last March the division received this case and conducted an investigation, and they did confirm, the military confirmed, that this nurse visited another unit without permission in January. And so the division is currently conducting an additional legal investigation and said that it's going to deal with this matter strictly according to the laws. And apparently they are discounting the accusation that the nurse conspired with some dude over at Jin's medical office. So this does not make me feel good at all. It makes me feel like there is a lot more that we don't know and we will never know. And that in this case, I think this was a crossroads between jealousy and justice, because as much as I, want to believe that the informant did this out of, totally like trying to do the right thing, I kind of think that perhaps maybe something like that was there that kind of propelled it. Although it does sound like she complained about the Tylenol before. He or she complained about, this thing going around, throwing Tylenol everywhere. So I think that it is not good, and it really does reinforce our worries, our concerns about how they're going to fare over about 2 years in the military. And we're barely on month 6. Jin went in December. We're just in May. This happened in January. So that was basically like a month after he was in there. And can't complain, always have to have a smile. We've seen him going out, having to smile and, act happy and stuff like that. So I wonder, well, at least now he can go to Africa to tour, or maybe in Argentina and go into a field where they have all those, as many of those mice as that they can handle, and he'll be supposedly perhaps vaccinated against that viral hemorrhagic fever. Oh, and by the way, you guys, I did order the BTS stamps during the pre-sale period, which is still going on right now here in Korea. So as long as you have some sort of basically Korean residency with a Korean phone, you can verify your identity, basically living like a Korean person here in Korea, then you can go onto the Postal Service website and order. Now, within a few hours on the first day, they did run out of just the sheet only, which was like $7, and then the sheet plus the book, which is about $27. And they still had the booklet, which has some stamps in it, I believe, and then the souvenir book. So I bought 2 of them, and so I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe we can have some contest or something like that, or some kind of a giveaway. Haven't decided. Put your comments below on what we can do, but I'm also curious to see how the pre-sale will go for overseas fans. I'm not going to get the booklets until probably mid or late June anyway, so we'll all kind of be in the same timeline. So if everybody just got these stamp booklets and it's no problem, then kumbaya. But if there's no way to really get them around the world, then at least maybe 1 or 2 can be provided through, Seoulite TV. And I'm really excited to, take a look at the stamps. But really, the thing, it's still kind of weighing upon my mind. This whole thing about it starts to get different once people are injecting things into you, and you don't really know, unless it's unless it's Botox, anyhow, you just don't put random vaccines into people that don't need it just so that you can get some, one-on-one time. And so that is kind of like a Nurse Ratched crazy like sasaeng fan, if indeed that's what she did. We do know at least the military confirmed that she went without permission. Now, whether she did it because they really did run out of supplies and she was being a team player and she needed to get, medical kind of supplies over, then maybe she was actually being, dutiful, because there's a lot of nurses that are really go out and extra and beyond to take care of patients, even maybe to their own detriment. So an open investigation would be good, but I think we're gonna have to rely on the powers of these people at TV Report. Yeah, TV Report is probably going to be who we have to depend on to get justice and inside information and the truth out of the military. All right, guys, well, put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.